Shannon Sharpe on Undisputed on Fox Sports 1, he was talking about Brett Favre. Now, what's going on with Favre? There's accusations in the state of Mississippi that did he take money? Was money diverted? Part of a scam there. There were welfare funds that maybe that money was diverted to Brett Favre and some others. So it's not a pretty picture for Brett Favre. And it's been kind of lingering there. Did he get money? Was he paid money? How much was he paid? Where was the money earmarked for? Well, Shannon Sharpe has heard enough. The Hall of Famer had this to say about Brett Favre.
I talked to people that was in the room when Brett Favre went to the Hall of Fame, and nobody mentioned about text messages that he sent to that jet masseuse. Nobody mentioned anything about the addiction that he suffered from. But yet T.O., they brought up everything. Can you imagine if T.O. would have had an incidents like Brett Favre off the field? T.O. still, to this day right now, would not be in the Hall of Fame. Yet they walked right past it like Brett Favre did nothing.
That is true. I give you that.
The problem that I have with this situation, you got to be a sorry mofo to steal from the lowest. Mississippi is the poorest state in our country.
It is.
Its citizens. So if they're the poorest state, Brett Favre is taken from the underserved. You made $100+ million in the NFL. This is what we know. Scared when black and brown people do fraud the government, they hell bent. You get an EBT card or you get WIC or you get stuff like that, boy, they move heaven and earth to try to put you in jail for $400 little measly dollars.
Fact.
Now this man done took $1 million. And they sitting around like, well, you know, it happened and we'll see. And they're going to get more money and do it all over again. The biggest criminals, the people that steal the most, look like that. But he's been a sleazeball. He's been shady for a very, very long time.
That has been built up over the years, I'm sure, for Shannon. And he is right about T.O., that when they start to look at you, now they're not supposed to look at you off the field. You know, it's a myopic view of a player, not a person. So Shannon knows that you shouldn't be looking, you know, was T.O. a good teammate? Now that's the argument. And I think that's what was held against him. You know, if you have a sports violation, it's different. You know, this is the kind of thing that could send you to jail. If you're defrauding and, you know, you got elected officials are involved in this. But some players, former players, we embrace that as, well, that's part of the charm of who they are. Now, we do this to Charles Barkley because there's no other analyst who could get by saying what Charles does. They're just not. But we embrace Charles. That's part of Charles. And Brett Favre, well, that's just the way he played, you know. You know, the drug addiction, I'm not going to put that as that makes him a bad guy. I think he, you know, if you get caught up, you know, with Vicodin, and he got caught up in that. And are those painkillers? This is a guy who famously didn't miss games, and he played hurt. You start to take Vicodin, then you rely on him. I remember being with him in Las Vegas. And I thought that Brett was on something. We later found out that he was on Vicodin. But that doesn't necessarily make him a bad guy that you lump this in with what is going on in Mississippi. Like, this is separate. What happened when he sent pictures to Jen Sturger, who worked for the Jets? I don't know if that was discussed, and probably not when he was up for the Hall of Fame. Now, he got fined $50,000, I believe, at the time. But Shannon is right. Brett Favre, we treat him differently because he sort of fits that, oh, that's the way you played, gunslinger and all that. That has nothing to do with what's going on right now in the state of Mississippi. And if it's true, I hope they come down hard on Brett Favre. If it's true, and those other elected officials diverted funds from the poorest people in the poorest state in America, is reprehensible. And Favre has money. He's got his copper fit, you know. He made over $100 million in his career. And he wanted to have money, according to some text messages, build a volleyball arena. His daughter had played volleyball for a couple of years in college, and he wanted to build a volleyball arena? Really? Yeah, Paul.
I remember back in the day when Michael Irvin was trying to get in the Hall of Fame, and didn't he have to wait a year?
Yes,
he
he
was
did.
not first ballot.
Yes, he did.
And a lot of the scuttlebutt was because of his off-field behavior. And Michael Irvin's defense or argument was like, my off-field behavior never took me off the field. I didn't miss Sunday. I didn't miss practice. Ask my teammates, did I ever miss practice? Did I ever not show on Sunday because of my off-field behavior? Because if you're going to ding me for my off-field behavior, it's got to affect my on-field for you to factor in that Hall of Fame room.
They weren't fair to Michael Irvin. When Mike was on the field, it was life and death for Mike. Off the field, if you want to include that, then okay, that's an issue. Yes, Eden.
It feels like it's exactly Shannon's point.
Yes. Yeah, we pick and choose. If Brett Favre did what Michael Irvin was doing, then would we say, well, Brett had some demons, but that Brett Favre, he always played, he played hurt.
Never took him off the field, though.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah. And look, I'm not the biggest T.O. fan, but he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Is he a good teammate? Now you can make an argument because there are people probably would say, no, he was not a good teammate at times. But he's not accused of a crime. I mean, he did sit-ups in a driveway. Okay. He's somebody who needed attention, still needs attention. I understand it. But that doesn't make him a bad football player. Guy played hard, played hurt, broken leg, Super Bowl. Michael Irvin. Nobody ever questioned his desire when he was on the football field, ever. But Shannon's right. Two schools of thought on this. Oh, that's just who you are. That's your charm. Somebody else? It's a negative. Yeah, Marv.
If that was Brett Favre who had that T.O. performance in the Super Bowl, coming off of that type of injury, we talk about that ad nauseum.
It'd be a movie. Absolutely. So, look, I think Shannon is, sometimes he gets caught up in that skip vortex, but Shannon is really good and really smart and has strong opinions. And I do have great respect for what Shannon does on that show.